You are listening to Something Rather Than Nothing. Creator and host, Ken Vellante. Editor and producer, Peter Bauer.
Hey everybody, this is Ken Vellante with Something Rather Than Nothing, and we have Portland-based band Dysgenia here on the podcast, and really excited to bump into their music out here in Oregon, and just wanted to let you know a little bit. They have an album called Intentionally Blank. They're on Bandcamp, and I've really enjoyed a lot of their music. I actually look forward to seeing them live because I haven't seen them live yet. Band members Riley Holland, Brian Wilson, and Dustin Vandehey, and welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and I wanted to start just like individually ask you to, introduce yourself, tell your role in the band, and just kind of your thought, just in general about the band and about music. I wanted to ask you first, Riley. Riley, tell us about yourself and your role in Dysgenia.
Yeah, I'm Riley. I play bass. Used to play guitar more, but we wanted a three-piece happening here, so I kind of one of the typical former guitar player, current bass player. So that kind of plays in how we write. But yeah, so it's kind of a full collaboration between us, but I'm just straight up. But we're working on somewhere I play some guitar, but mostly just sticking with straight up bass.
Yeah. Thanks so much. And Dustin Vandehey, tell us about what you do.
Yeah, I'm the guitar player of Dysgenia. We've been doing this, I want to say 10 years. And I just enjoy coming here. We practice every Thursday and play live probably once a month or so. And just enjoy the creative process. We all kind of think the same creatively. And so, we just are able to come together and, kind of create this cool music. And that's kind of why I show up every Thursday.
Yeah. It's nice to have that scheduled there and, have that partnership over time. Brian, what do you do in the band, and what's your background?
Hey, I'm Brian, play drums, and my background is a little more formal than these guys. I took lessons starting at the age of 10. Did that for about 10 years and actually majored in music for a while. So, I'm coming into it with a little more formal experience than the other two. I also do write music. Because I studied formally, I know some theory and composition. So I do actually write some of the music too, other than just rhythm. And I guess we became a full band after I met Riley, and just started as a conversation he was having with somebody about music, and they mentioned Rush, which was one of my favorite bands. So I joined in the conversation, and it led to, do you play music? Yeah, I play drums. Oh, we're looking for a drummer. And so what do you guys want to do? And he said, what was it? Instrumental progressive metal. And so I wasn't even looking to join a band at that point, but when he said that piqued my interest. So yeah, almost 10 years later, here we are.
I love it. Yeah, like we need these words. I mean, it's like when we talk about music, sometimes there's these words or something you're gonna hear and be like, okay, I'm down with that. One of the things I was just kind of in description of your music is I saw the kind of question or phrase is, how much can you say without words? And just really kind of easing into your sound, and the prominence of the instrumentation, and I don't know, maybe journeying aspects. It feels very to me like a rock sound that I adore, that's Pacific Northwest, and it feels really good. Tell us about, you've been doing this for a while. You committed to it. You practice regularly, you get out there and play live. And you've been playing for a while. Tell us about Dysgenia and kind of how it's evolved and what you try to do when you play your music, in crowds and live.
Yeah, well, Dustin and I have been in bands together since like college.
2003.
Yeah, long time ago. I mean, with breaks and stuff, but we played in like cover bands and just like goofing off writing stuff. Yeah. We always had vocalists. We were always writing relatively traditional type stuff in that sense. And then we got back together. Just you had some people you were jamming with.
Yeah.
Just doing some covers. It had been a while. They wanted someone on bass. I was like, yeah, I'll play some Faith No More songs on bass. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And then it was such a blast. And so we decided to do something more serious. And originally we were going to try to find a singer and a drummer. And Brian told you how we met him, which was after a long period of being pretty discouraged. Like, are we ever going to find a drummer that fits what we want to do? And we had already given up on singers. We had thought we are definitely not going to find a singer. I mean, maybe one was out there, but after just trying people out and being disappointed, we were just like, well, we love a lot of instrumental music. Why don't we just kind of focus on those influences? It's more interesting for us. So we kind of tried that out, wrote a couple songs together, and it worked. So we just kind of kept going with that formula.
Yeah, and I think because I was jamming with those guys, and I think I wrote Riley a text jokingly saying, "Hey, do you want to play 'We Care a Lot' by Faith No More on bass?" And because it's just like one note, I think. And Riley was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And then I think we had some Pearl Jam covers too we were trying to do. So we just started jamming with these guys and just didn't over time feel like it was a good fit. And I know at the time I was listening to a lot of Dream Theater and Animals as Leaders and a bunch of like progressive stuff. And I just kind of felt like I had done about 5 years of flamenco guitar too. And I just felt like, why don't we like take our talents that the two of us have and, create something out of it. Then, as Brian said, we met him and he was fantastic and has been great for 10 years. And it's nice to kind of challenge ourselves. I always find it to be a huge challenge. Like, no singer means that we actually have to the three of us play really well. So I have to practice like almost daily just to keep the chops up. So I think that's why we keep going, is because this is music that we like to play. We're not trying to please a mass audience of people. We're just trying to like play the music that we want to play, the stuff that we are inspired by. And three of us kind of bring our own stuff to it, and we write our own music and we collaborate on all of it. It just kind of comes out to be this really crazy stuff. So I think as far as Dysgenia, just kind of keeping going, I think that's kind of what's keeping us going. It's just constantly challenging ourselves and just playing all this weird stuff that I think people like. Who knows?
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things I could say for myself is I've had somebody who was very influential on my music listening. A really brilliant guy, a friend of mine, Todd, and prior to that, I had different type of tastes in music, but I never was patient with the instrumentals or kind of like ranging rock or anything like that. And he was so reactionary towards like lyrics sometimes that he'd just turn something off when he heard somebody singing. So he could be extreme with that, but he really taught me a lot about just kind of listening carefully and just really experiencing music in a completely new way. So I was thinking about him when I was listening to your music and kind of how he helped train my ears towards that. I listen to a lot of different types of music, but now I would say, whereas before I wouldn't just kind of sit back and just kind of groove to things for a long time. Now I do that most of the time. So it's a nice thing.
Sure.
Where do you guys play? You're based in the Pacific Northwest, up in Portland. What type of shows you play?
I mean, gosh, we've been doing this for a long time, and we've played at all the bars in Portland, even the ones that have shut down.
Before they shut down.
Yeah, before we actually played there, and then they shut down shortly thereafter. Where else? Like, we played at an airplane hangar down in Salem.
Yeah, we were kind of taking every gig we could at first, but one of the cool things about our style of music is like that we learned is in one way it's really specific, like you'd think it's for a really specific type of listener, but also because it's instrumental, it fits with a lot of different bills and other bands lineup. So we've played with all sorts of different bands, and that makes it really liberating. Whereas if you have like harsh metal vocals, you're not going to be necessarily fitting in on a lot of more eclectic bills. So we've played with like heavy blues bands and intense metal bands, punk bands. We're playing at a post-rock festival on the 24th of this month. Post rock and friends, so we're kind of and friends, but so we kind of are able to slip in there in a lot of different contexts.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, to Riley's point, like, we went up to Seattle in October and played with kind of a psychedelic hip hop band, and we've become good friends with them. And so we actually played another show with them. What was that? 3 weeks ago.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, this Big Lebowski themed bar. So they came down from Seattle and played with us, and so that's another reason I just love this music. It's just it can just kind of go anywhere, really.
I gotta see that. I saw the video from that show. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I love that. So you played with that other band recently together?
Yeah, like Brian said, a couple of weeks ago, they came down from Seattle, and we played like right before them. So, but yeah, it's been good doing it that way. Meet a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, you're both rocking the house. That was nice.
Yeah.
Might be collaborating with them too. They were saying they wanted to do a collaboration, write a song together. So
yeah, because the one guy does like hip hop vocals, so we'll see if that is a good fit or not. But so it'll be cool.
I could only say, like, go in and give it as good a shot as you can, because it was just so noticeable how that came together. At least with the video, I was like, man, what it fit right there. So see if you can work it, because I love that. And the name of the band from up north, who were they?
Kumite.
Okay. We're gonna have those folks in the show notes. Thanks so much for laying that out. This is an art and philosophy show. I wanted to ask you in general, and anybody can chime in here. Just talking about art. One of the questions I ask is, what is art? Anybody have any thoughts on just like that general question? What is art?
Wow. Yeah, that can be answered a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Riley was a philosophy major, so he might be the best person to ask.
Riley's going to start off. If he has that major, I'm sorry, Riley. You either won or you lost. I don't know.
I'm such a dork that I did think right away of William Blake.
There we go.
Yeah, talking about, I forget exactly how he put it, but that it's sort of just like an overflowing of life force. It's like you're a human being, you've got life force to get you through the day and survive, but then there's just extra. And that extra just wants to express itself somehow, and it just overflows, basically. And that's how I experience music. It just kind of overflows. It's not to get something from the world. Although I think that you can be a legitimate artist for sure and be making plenty of money and having it be your career. That's definitely there. But something that is just overflowing into the world, and it just kind of comes out the way it wants to come out, is how I tend to think of it. And then that's what gives it the quality when other people are doing it in art that I resonate with. I'm like, oh yeah, that, I don't know what that is or where it came from, but it came from somewhere that wasn't just the person's rational mind, like, oh, this would be cool. It's like it came from somewhere deeper, something other,
I've also heard it said not just that it wants to come out, but that it has to somehow.
Yeah, I had so many ideas for songs before this band, that I was like, it was painful to have these ideas and not be able to express them. It actually like really bugged me.
Yeah.
So that was a huge relief early on. Like fucking finally we can just do this stuff and get it out of our system,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I tend to just get stuff in my head. Like a part of a song, I'll just think about it. And yeah, like Riley said, just kind of comes out, and you just kind of start playing it, and then bring it to the practice space and work on it together. And people bring stuff as well, bring their own parts to the songs as well, and then it kind of comes together in a way that we definitely love. So
becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like, what does this song want to be?
Yeah,
Like, where does this want to go? Which is great that we all kind of have that attitude, because we've all thrown in ideas for all different kinds of stuff, and we've never gotten into like a Longhorns type situation where no, it's about my idea, because usually it's just like, oh yeah, a particular way is better. If we try them all, we'll find the one that's the best.
Yeah, sometimes we'll try things out. It's about feel, and you say, "Oh, that sounded great," and you crank the amps up, and sit in the space and just experiment with things. It's kind of that scientific process where you're experimenting with things. Seems to work so far.
Yeah, well, and thanks for your comments. And there is so much power in that with Blake, or just like this outpouring of energy, like something that has to be done, and just hearing like there's discomfort in not like expressing things at times, right? It might be like, I'm a writer, so my hand needs to move. I'm a singer, I need to sing, or you need to play. It's like, I'm going to be unhealthy unless the overflowing gets out. And I think there's something pretty profound out with that, man. It feels good, right? It feels right. I think maybe
even if you're just singing in the shower, yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
There's also this funny, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but there's also this funny sense of sort of like, especially recording the album. And once we started playing more shows and stuff, of like, oh, okay, I'm finally like paying back the rock gods a little bit of just being like, I played music a lot, but just mostly being a consumer of music, and just like taking more than I put back in was another feeling of like, that needs to be balanced out a little bit too.
Yeah. And there's definitely like a growth that you have over time as you keep writing this kind of music. You just get better over time. Like when Brian mentioned, "Hey, I've got a song for you guys to learn," it was super difficult. It's the one perceptual dichotomy. I mean, it took a long time to kind of learn that. And I know I had to like climb up to the summit of Everest to meet Brian up there, who had already climbed it a long time ago, to kind of meet that skill level. And so as we've been a band for a long time, our songs just get, more complicated and just more, I guess, kind of juicy as we've got more experience playing live. We're just getting better over time. And so
what's your relationship? I'm always wondering this, because I go to a lot of live shows. What's your experience as far as doing the tracks in a studio format, given the way that you play and the way that you flow? Does that feel like an okay process, or does it feel like a snapshot of where you are, or what's the studio recording feel like for you?
Snapshot of where we were seems like a good description. It was a learning experience. We had a couple of songs that we probably didn't put enough thought into what exact tempo it was going to be. So when we were done recording, we were kind of thinking, we should have done that a little faster, we should have done that a little slower. So hopefully that's a learning experience if we do any more recording.
Yeah, like take a little more time with kind of the pre-production process of like doing the scratch track right at the right tempo, and then really taking the time to kind of dial everything in. And like when we recorded the album, it was at Brian's cousin's house, so he had kind of a basement recording studio, and he said, why don't we record an album? You guys have a bunch of songs, let's do it. So we spent, what was it, a year or something, kind of going to that studio off and on and just recording and spending a lot of time on it. So that's kind of how you do it, you know?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen you live, and I've seen some of the performances and bits that you have here. So I really look forward to it, because I just had that feeling when, you know, there's a style of music, and I love that flow live a lot more nowadays, even than I used to before, because my tastes have changed. I love to go with it. And I think it's a big impact of like maybe outdoor music or the groove music that you find in the Pacific Northwest, at least where I've dropped into it. So I really enjoy that. Speaking of which, in general, about your music and what you have out there, how do folks find your music? I had mentioned you have a Bandcamp, but how do people experience what you do?
So we get a lot of traction with our Instagram account. We have Facebook. I don't know how much of that. I mean, I don't really look at that much, but Instagram, we tend to get a lot of followers and all that. And that's kind of the way I connect with other bands to, you know, try to book shows and that sort of thing. It seems like a big networking thing. So we got a lot of stuff on Instagram. We're on Spotify, SoundCloud, like I said, Bandcamp.
Got some videos on YouTube.
Right. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Where else?
Yeah, a bunch of different places, but I think the main ones are Spotify and Bandcamp, mainly because, I mean, Spotify is accessible to a lot of people. We've got, you know, a pretty good amount of listens on there. But then Bandcamp, as I think a lot of people know, it's higher quality audios. Some people will only do Bandcamp, and you can listen for free a few times. I forget how many before they make you buy it.
Yeah.
But so those are kind of two where there's a sort of a meaningful difference between them.
Yeah.
The rest of the platforms are just like other places where the same thing is. You know?
Yeah, a bunch of random stuff because we had to go through a distributor, and it just kind of threw our tracks all over the internet, you know. So I think it's just like Spotify, SoundCloud, and Bandcamp are kind of the big three that I see the most traction on, at least.
I was surprised how many people were listening to our stuff on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than I expected.
Yeah.
Bandcamp's a nice platform. I like the access to the merchandise, but also, you know, like, you know, that some of that direct support through those payments, and also I remember one time I found a whole bunch of kind of Pink Floyd bootlegs that were really nice and cheap, and just, I don't know, just hearing like Animals 1978 and like, you know, like one of those performances was just super. So just a great varied material. And I know I've checked out your stuff there on Bandcamp, but really enjoy it. I want to ask, you know, we got this episode we'll have coming out later June 2023, coming forth for folks to be listening when the show comes out this summer. Any spot or two or things to look out for where you might be?
Yeah, so far we're doing June 24th. That's the Post Rock Festival at the High Water Mark in Northeast Portland. So it's on a Saturday. I think we go on at 7, maybe. I'd have to verify that.
I think it's doors at 7:30. We're opening the second day of the festival.
Yeah, and then September we have the Alt. It's called the Alt Fest. So that's September 15th at the Kenton Club. And then as far as that, probably get some more gigs this summer, but nothing yet. But it'll fill up, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be summer music. Could be a busy summer. Could be a busy summer.
Yeah, because usually the way it happens is like I just will sit on Instagram and somebody will write us and ask us to come sit on a bill. And it's a lot easier than writing bookers and having to deal with that. We just you know, crash a bill or something, just, you know, from some band we know or something.
Well, yeah, I like I said, I really look forward to to seeing you live. And you know, for the audience, check out Dysgenia and on the places that they mention. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you know, in Oregon in particular, playing in Portland there. I'm very much looking forward to hearing you play live. And just listeners, just so you know, we'll have a bit of music here coming up in just a bit with Dysgenia. Just wanted to thank you, Dustin, Brian, and Riley for popping on the podcast and letting folks know about the great music you put out. I really appreciate chatting with you, and thanks for the music. It's a real treat. I feel like I know what you put into it, and for the type of listeners that you're trying to reach. And I didn't get, you know, I just felt that, so I wanted to thank you for that, and thanks for the music.
Of course.
Thanks for having us. Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
This is Something Rather Than Nothing.